the building. Occasionally someone will go in to get something. But yeah, we're not in the building.
We're still okay so far on the city hall.
Are you?
We had closed the public out for a while after that first deal, but we opened it back up about 3 weeks ago, maybe. And, hopefully we don't have to close it again.
Right, right. How many staff people work in City Hall?
Oh, gosh, I want to say maybe 25. I could be wrong, but a bunch of them on that first round, they chose to work from home during the whole thing, so that might have helped a little bit.
Right. I think too, you guys are back in behind the there's usually the barriers there anyway. So.
Right, we put them up before we opened it back up.
Mm-hmm. Well, the county building is so big and there's so many places for people to go that kind of hard. It's a hard building to contain.
Right, and then when you get a bunch of them together, they congregate. So it seems like that's the hardest part, is to keep people from congregating. Does RCTC have any staff out with it, or?
No, we've had consultants or contractors who've been exposed, and we've had some staff have to be isolated, but to my knowledge, no one on staff has had it.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Good deal.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Mr. Mayor.
Cheer up, and it's going to get better.
Yes, sir. Yes. Absolutely. Commissioner Hannah, how was the smoke from that fire over the weekend?
You know, we didn't have any over here. We usually have a westerly breeze, but this morning, when I opened the window, I could smell burnt wood. But sometime during the night, also, yesterday, night before last, we'd had a house fire over on the next street over and a block up. I don't know if that's what I was smelling this morning or what, but we actually didn't get much smoke here in Norco from that fire. I think it was all going to the east, northeast. And
well, there was that fire, there was the fire in the Badlands, and then there was the fire in Palm Springs, and I'm not quite sure where our smoke was coming from, but we were getting it. We had a lot of helicopters flying over. I think they were refueling, so.
Probably. Well, that fire out there in Palm Springs, that's that road we always take to go back in the back way of the deal. There's not much out there to burn except that grease wood.
Right. A
little bit of stuff, but that burns pretty fast. But it's definitely going to probably be a big fire season this year.
I think so. Good afternoon, Supervisor Hewitt.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, how you doing, Berwin?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, it's warm out here.
I bet.
I wonder if we didn't have this kind of technology, whether we do this kind of stuff with homing pigeons.
maybe write letters.
Right? Write a lot of it.
Mhm. Telegrams.
Smoke signals if the AQMD wasn't around. No.
Good afternoon, Commissioners Bergson and Zimmerman. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the welcome.
We have Commissioner Laura Morrow joining us as well.
Hello, hello.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Benoit.
Also here.
Boy, you mentioned the AQMD and they show right up, I'll tell you.
All right, it's 1:30 on the nose. Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum?
Yes, it appears so.
All right, let's just take care of some housekeeping remarks. Good morning, everybody. It's been a long time, real long time since we've met. And my first meeting as a chair. So I'd like to thank everybody for participating in our Riverside County Transportation Commission via Zoom. We're going to do our best to facilitate a smooth meeting. As you all know how this goes, we've all been on these things many times. Even I myself, I had a bad Wi-Fi connection. I had to switch, but it seems like I'm okay now. Please silence all your communication devices, such as your cell phones or your desk phones. It will minimize a lot of the feedback. And after each agenda item, I will announce public comment. For those on Zoom, if you'd like to make a public comment on the Zoom screen, please click on the participants button on the bottom of your screen. A list of participants will appear on the right side of the screen at the bottom of the list. Please click on the gray raised hand button. This will signal to our host that you would like to provide public comment and you'll be added to our list. If you are using Zoom on your smartphone, tap on your screen and your screen will pop up in the list of participants. Look for the raise hand button on the screen and press that one. And for those of you who are calling in using a phone line only, you can press *9 on your keypad to signal that you'd like to make a comment. So that being said, I am calling to order this meeting of the Western Riverside County Programs and Projects Committee. Call time is 1:31. Madam Clerk, can we have roll call, please?
Yes, thank you. District 1. District 5,
Here,
City of Corona. City of Eastvale,
Present.
Harupa Valley,
Here.
Menifee,
Here.
Moreno Valley, Marietta, Norco,
Here,
Harris,
Here.
San Jacinto, and Wildemar.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Thank
Just
you.
barely.
Thanks. Are there any public comments on any items on the agenda?
I don't see anyone with their hand raised, Chair.
Very good. Item 3 is our public comments, and since we don't have any, we would have allowed speakers to speak under the Brown Act for 3 minutes each, but we'll keep on moving on. Item 4 is any additions or revisions. Do we have any?
No, sir.
Good. Item 5 is the approval of minutes from the meeting from February 24th, 2020. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Norco makes a motion.
Aruba Valley seconds.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
District 2? I'm sorry, District 5?
Yeah, aye.
Eastvale?
Aye.
Harupa Valley?
Yes.
Menifee?
Yes.
Norco?
Yes.
Paris?
Yes.
And Wildemar.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Item 6, an agreement with BNSF Railway Company for rail signal design services for the Riverside Downtown Metrolink Station track and platform expansion project. This will be given by David Lewis.
Thank you and good afternoon, committee chair and commissioners. My name is David Lewis, Capital Project Manager, and it's my pleasure to present today and seek the committee's approval for a rail signal design services agreement between RCTC and the BNSF Railway Company for the Riverside Downtown Metrolink Station track and platform expansion project. Next slide, please. As you will see, the project is located at the existing Riverside Downtown Metrolink Station. Next slide, please. Our team is currently in the design and environmental phase for the project, which proposes the following: additional station tracks, pedestrian overcrossing extension, a new passenger loading platform, and a new parking lot on the east side of the tracks. The additional tracks require the signalization and switching to be integrated and controlled by BNSF. Therefore, BNSF requires that they provide the signal design services. Staff, working in conjunction with Metrolink and the project team, have developed a concept for the additional tracks and signals, which BNSF has concurred with and provided the cost estimate to complete design services outlined in the agreement. Next slide, please. It's been a pleasure presenting to this committee for the first time. This concludes my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Very good. Commissioners, anybody have any questions or comments?
Only a comment. If I were in my office, I could look right down across the freeway and see that, but I'm not.
I'll move approval. This is Menifee.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Let me open up public comment first.
Okay.
At this time, Madam Clerk, do we have any public members who wish to speak on this particular item?
I do not see anyone with their hand raised.
Very good. And just to confirm, we don't have any members of the public on telephone? That was a question.
Yeah, we do have members of the public joining our meeting, but so far we don't see anyone on the telephone or Zoom asking to speak.
Okay, very good. So we have a motion by Commissioner Zimmerman. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
District 5?
Aye.
Eastvale?
Aye.
Harupa Valley?
Yes.
Menifee?
Aye.
Norco?
Yes.
Paris?
Yes.
Wildemar. I'm sorry, I didn't hear Wildemar.
Yes, for Wildemar.
Thank you. The motion passes.
All right, thank you. Good presentation, David. Okay, item 7 is 2020 State Route 91 Implementation Plan. This will be introduced by David Thomas. You're muted, David.
All right, thanks for that. Good afternoon, Chair Vargas and committee members. This item is a presentation of the 2020 State Route 91 Implementation Plan. Next slide. Oh, yeah. So why do we do this plan? So this plan is a required plan by SB 1316, which is a legislation that transferred OCTA's rights to RCTC for the implementation of the Riverside County portion of the 91 Express Lanes. This plan is updated annually since 2003 and captures all present, past, and future projects along the 91 corridor. The limits of the projects that are discussed in this plan range from Interstate 15 in Riverside County to State Route 57 in Orange County. One thing to note about the projects in this plan, they're not necessarily financially constrained. So basically it's just best efforts to identify any projects that are in the works along this corridor. This effort to produce this plan annually is a collaborative effort by county as well as all of the cities and agencies, transportation agencies along the corridor within these limits. Next slide. So to date, we've completed 8 projects, totaling an investment of $1.9 billion. I'm not going to go into the details of all 8 projects. They're covered in Appendix A in the report. But one major project to note out of the $1.9 billion is RCTC's own SR91 Corridor Improvement Project, the initial phase, which was a $1.4 billion investment of that piece. Next slide. To date, 66.5 lane miles have been added with the various projects that have been completed, which also represents a 15% increase in throughput in the corridor, and that's comparing 2003 numbers to recent traffic volumes along the corridor. So the benefits of having a plan like this and all the coordinated efforts, basically it addresses population and traffic growth, provides seamless connectivity between the counties, increases travel options, and ultimately improves quality of life for those that use this corridor. Next slide. Some guiding principles, and these will probably sound familiar to you because they're very similar to our policy principles for the 91 express lanes. Listed on the screen here, I won't go through each one, just highlight a couple of them. First of all, at the top, the SR91 corridor improvements are phased in such a way that will minimize traffic impacts to the corridor. So that's an important principle. Jumping down there to the 4th bullet, any projects that are evaluated, we have to determine that there's sufficient revenue to sustain the financial viability of the 91 express lanes. Next slide. So the plan basically summarizes projects that are in the works into 3 categories: Orange County projects, Riverside County projects, and bi-county projects. So I'm just going to touch on the projects that are currently in the works in each of those 3 groups. So in Orange County, there are improvements along the 91 between the 55 and the 57. This project is about a $460 million project. It includes some auxiliary lanes in the westbound direction within those limits, as well as a new general purpose lane eastbound within those limits. There are improvements proposed for the Anaheim Canyon Metrolink station, about $30 million worth, basically to add a second platform and increase service at that station. A new rail station is proposed This is about a $35 million project at Placentia. And then finally, Fairmont improvements. Fairmont is a overcrossing today, and it's proposed to make that into an interchange that has connectivity to State Route 91. Next slide. So in Riverside County, there are 3 projects highlighted in the plan. You're familiar with these, I'm sure. The 1591 Express Lane Connector project, which is currently underway. 7191 interchange, which is getting closer to construction. We're still seeking funding for the construction of that project. And then east of the 15, there are improvements that were part of the 91 CIP Ultimate project that we have not constructed yet. So those are the projects in Riverside County. Moving to bi-county projects. Express bus service. This is listed because there is a continual operating expense for this project, even though there's no new service being put in place since 2018. About $6 million goes toward express buses between Orange County and Riverside County. The 91 Corridor Operations Project is the westbound widening that you're all familiar with from Green River Road to State Route 241. The General Purpose Lane addition. This is right now it's a study going on between the 241 and the 71 to look at similar to the 91 COP project, an eastbound improvement in those limits. And then finally, the 241-91 Tolled Express Lane Connector. This is a connector project that will join the express lanes to and from the east directly to the 241 through a median connector. Next slide. So something new added to the plan this year. You may recall back in October 2019, there was a lot of coordination effort between OCTA, RCTC, Caltrans, and TCA, primarily related to the 241-91 connector project. That ultimately resulted in an agreement or consensus about moving that project forward. That to help with that project and streamlining that project, basically a sequence of project implementation was developed. And this is also included in this 91 implementation plan as an update of coordination efforts. So you can see the order of projects listed there. This order is based on when operationally we believe each of the projects should be implemented, considering traffic dynamics, project readiness, also construction fatigue and community impacts, throwaway costs, as well as funding availability for each of the projects. Just a footnote there that you see project 3, which is the 7191 interchange improvements, does not necessarily have to be implemented prior to the 241-91. This is our best estimate right now on the sequence of these projects. Next slide. So this is the final slide. Basically, this item is for the committee to approve and forward to the commission for approval. We will continue our project implementation efforts and, of course, seek external funding opportunities where possible. That concludes my presentation.
All righty, thank you, David. Good presentation. Any commissioners have any comments or questions before I open public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll open up public comment. Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak?
No, sir, I do not see anyone with their hand raised.
Okay, we will close public comment and I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move. This is Wes and speaking. Corona.
Narco second.
District 5,
Aye.
Corona,
Aye.
Eastville,
Aye.
Harupa Valley,
Yes.
Menifee,
Aye.
Marietta,
Yes.
Norco,
Yes.
Paris,
Yes.
Wildemar.
Yes.
The motion passes.
All right, very good. Thank you. All right, item 9 is our commissioner's staff report. Commissioners, do you have anything?
Pardon me, Chair, we skipped item 8.
No, my bad. Trying to make this real quick, you know. All right, item 8 is award of SR 91 corridor operations project construction agreement to OHL USA. And this will be given by David Thomas as well.
All right, hello again. So this might look familiar to you, but this is the next phase of this project, which is the award of the construction contract for the 91 corridor operations project. Next slide. So again, the scope of this project is to add a lane from Green River Road to State Route 241, about 2-mile stretch in eastbound direction. Some of the components that are involved in that widening are listed there: retaining wall, reconstructing a portion of Green River Road itself adjacent to this new lane, overhead signs, and high mast lighting. A little bit of background, next slide. Just starting off with when this project was initiated back in March of 2017, we opened the CIP project, and then in December, we were looking at some hot spots after opening from December of 2017 to April of 2018. We brought to the commission a recommendation in May of 2018 for some improvements along the corridor of this project, being one of those improvements, the 91 Top project. In December of 2018, the commission authorized the construction phase. And then just a couple months back in May of 2020, the commission awarded the construction management services agreement to Falcon Engineering. Next slide. So just a little bit of the construction bid process that we went through on the project. We had a invitation for bids that went out on May 21st. We advertised in the Press Enterprise, posted on Planet Bids. Had electronic mail messages sent to registered vendors. We had about 105 firms download the IFB, including 28 of those in Riverside County. We held a pre-bid video conference, much like the one we're having today, on May 28th. And then bids opened. We had a public opening as well through video conferencing on July 2 of 2020. A few weeks ago. Next slide. So what you're seeing is the bid results on the screen. The basis for award for a public works contract is the lowest responsive and responsible bidder as defined by the Commission's procurement policy and state law. The bid analysis, which is included with this item as attachment 3, shows the bid amounts of the 3 lowest apparent bidders, the total price per item, and percent variation from the engineer's estimate for each bid item. The bid price submitted by OHL USA was approximately 27% lower than the engineer's estimate. Although OHL USA's bid is lower than the engineer's estimate, an analysis of the bids is required and was completed by staff. After analyzing the 11 bids received, staff concluded that OHL USA is the lowest responsible bidder submitting a responsive bid in the amount of $18,886,963. Staff did receive a bid protest letter dated July 20, protesting the bid submitted by OHL USA. The executive director, in consultation with staff, legal counsel, and the commission's DVE consultant, determined that the protest had merit in part and that OHL USA did not meet the DVE goal. As a result, staff is completing a DBE good faith efforts analysis, which has been submitted to Caltrans for review. Staff will inform the commission of the final results of the good faith efforts review at the commission meeting. Should the good faith efforts analysis not be completed by Caltrans prior to the meeting, this item will be deferred to the September commission meeting. Next slide. So I wanted to show a breakdown of the costs that are included in the approval of this item. First of all, you have the construction bid amount at the top, and then the typical contingency. It's a 10% contingency, and that covers COZEP, FSP, and also unknowns that may occur during the project construction phase. We have an item for approval for supplemental work. Supplemental work is the work that will be needed to be done during construction, but is not quantifiable at the time of construction advertisement. Two common supplemental items of work are maintaining existing traffic and the price index fluctuation of asphalt pavement. You can see the estimated amount for supplemental work is $406,900. This bid also includes something fairly unique, which is incentive clauses that would pay the contractor up to 2 early completion bonuses tied to two project milestones. The first bonus would be paid if the contractor reduces stage 2, which is considered most impactful to the traveling public. You can see there that there's a amount of $135,000 that would be the maximum incentive that could be achieved, depending on how many days they are able to complete earlier than the 60 days that's listed. The second bonus would be paid if the contractor reduces the overall construction duration from notice to proceed to open to traffic. And you can see the amount there, maximum amount that would be paid for that, $337,500. These 2 early completion bonuses, including the daily value of incentive, disincentives, and maximum bonus achievable, are shown in Table 2. Each bonus can be achieved independently for a combined maximum bonus payment of $472,500. Construction activity is expected to begin in October 2020 and will take about 12 months to complete. Next slide, please. So in closing, these are the authorizations that are being sought today. Pending final results of the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Good Faith Efforts Review, we're seeking approval to award this agreement to OHL for the 91 COP construction in the amount of $18,886,963, plus a 10% contingency, supplemental work in the amount of $406,900, and an incentive payment in the amount of up to $472,500 for the total amount not to exceed $21,655,059. Also seeking approval to authorize the chair or executive director pursuant to legal counsel review to finalize and execute the agreement on behalf of the commission. Authorize the executive director or designee to approve contingency work, supplemental work, and incentive payments as may be required for the 91 COP, and forward to the commission for final action. This completes my presentation.
Very good. Thank you, David. Any commissioners have any questions or comments?
I'm showing Commissioner Speak with his hand raised.
You're on, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you, David, for the great synopsis there of how we got here. I'm pretty excited about seeing this project go forward. I know that I was involved in the citizens group that helped push this, and again, I want to say thank you to the commission and thank you to staff for seeing this as a great project and getting this really lightning speed is I guess a light way to say it, but. And I see Ann smiling, so I'll take that. I did want to ask about phase 2. Can you describe that a little bit? What phase 2 entails?
Maybe we can go back to the slide that shows the incentives. Slide 6.
I think it's very important that we do that. I think that's a great opportunity, but I just want to be able to explain that to folks too.
So the way the project is basically laid out is a 2-stage construction. Stage 1, basically you might see some K-rail off on the shoulder, but there won't be really a change to traffic striping. We're trying to do a lot of work kind of offline, away from the shoulder, and minimize impacts. And that's the longer stage of construction. In fact, if you just subtract those two numbers there, there's 170 days of stage 1 before stage 2. So stage 2, what happens in stage 2, because there is such narrow room to work, we need to tie in the new pavement adjacent to the outer edge of traffic. And in order to do that, we have to shift traffic toward the median, even when there's very little room to do that. So during this stage, there will be 10.5-foot lanes, not all of them, but a few of the lanes will be 10.5 foot in width. We typically don't like to go less than 11 foot in order to gain enough width so we can place K-rail on that edge and then be able to join that pavement edge for the widening that needs to occur. So we expect to get all the retaining walls, most of the earthwork done prior to the need for stage 2, but there will come a point where we need to shift traffic over and then put up that K-rail and do that last bit of pavement widening for the additional lane that we're adding. So being as it is, we're looking to minimize that stage as much as possible and felt it was prudent to include an incentive to minimize that stage in the contract.
So the stage 2 is that 60-day, it's a 60-day range. We're not going to be closing any lanes, at least not for any length of time, but it's just going to be narrowing of the lanes, correct?
Just narrowing of the lanes. There will be nighttime lane closures.
Sure. Of course.
But yeah, we'll have full lane, all the lane capacity that is there today.
Okay, great. That's it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
I'm showing Commissioner Bergson with his hand raised.
Yes, thank you. My question is, first of all, so this, the award to OHL for 18.886 million versus the engineer's estimate at 26 million. So one of the questions I had is just curious, and it doesn't necessarily relate to this project, but overall in general, since there's such a disparity between the engineer's cost estimate and what the bids came in, when the developer or the contractor posts his performance bonds, I'm curious if they post the performance bond for the amount of their bid, or do they post it for the amount of the engineer's estimate? And that's one question. So you can, and then I have one more after that.
It would be for the amount of their bid.
Before what they bid. Okay. That's what I was hoping to hear. And then the other question I had was the bid of 18.886 million came in at the lowest bid, but I just was wanting to make sure that the supplemental and incentive work that's being added to this contract brings it, far above 18.8 million. So are those other ancillary costs across the board, no matter who had been given the contract, those same numbers would apply to everybody? Or is that bringing their actual bid higher up and they're no longer the lowest bidder?
No, that's those costs remain fixed no matter who gets the bid. The only cost that is variable is the contingency amount, because we base that on the contract value as a 10%. So of the cost that you see there, only the contingency is one that varies with the bids that come in.
Okay, you've answered exactly what I was hoping to hear, so I'm good with those. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm showing Commissioner Vinton.
Thank you. I apologize for being late. Just quick confirmation, David, on we're approving the award pending the review of the MBE to go to the full commission. Is that correct?
That is correct, of the DBE good faith effort.
Thank you.
Well,
Anyone else?
Commissioner Lorimore has his hand raised as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So if staff could please expand upon the challenge with and the protest DBE, the DBE protest, and what sort of, is this common? Do we expect that this will go through?
I think it's really hard to know if it's going to go through or not. Our initial review, RCTC's review that was done by our consultant, did show that the good faith effort was sufficient. And it's now in Caltrans court. They have 15 days to give us a response. And it's an unbiased response, and we await that response for whether they will have the same findings or not.
And if I could weigh in here as well, protests are not uncommon. Evaluations related to good faith efforts, which is a demonstration by the contractor that they made every effort to meet the disadvantaged business enterprise goals of the project. Evaluations of good faith efforts are somewhat subjective. And so this process has been put in place to make sure there's multiple levels of review on a good faith effort should there be any questions. So as David said, we need to wait for the Caltrans response to come back. We'll evaluate what that is. If that evaluation modifies our recommendation to the commission, we will so state, and we'll tell you why. If it doesn't modify the recommendation, then we'll proceed with the action you have here. Our goal is to award a contract for the 91 COP as soon as we possibly can, and we're hoping it's at the August meeting.
I appreciate the well, expanding the discussion a little bit on this. What way, or is it necessary? Does this have, assuming we hope that this goes through and we're able to go with this lowest and best bid. If it is not, does it need to be brought back to this subcommittee?
No, if there are any revisions, we'll just go straight to the commission unless this committee wants it to come back again for review by this committee. And the reason I would recommend it go straight to commission is so that we can get the contract awarded as soon as possible. But again, it's up to this committee if you want it to come back to you before it goes to the commission, if the recommendation changes.
Okay, I appreciate that. I was just trying to speed up the process, and if we don't need to weigh in on it again, I'm certainly not pushing for that. Love to see this move as quickly as possible. I was just trying to think ahead as to if we needed to set up a meeting between now and the next commission meeting if we didn't get an answer. So thank you.
Anybody else?
Commissioner Zimmerman has his hand raised.
Okay, Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Real quick, because this bidder came in so much lower than the others, and because they were awarded additional points for being a disadvantaged business enterprise, my question to staff is, did they demonstrate, or have they been able to demonstrate in their representative projects that they're capable of handling a project like this? Have they worked with Caltrans and in the area? Are they local? Can you just share a little bit about in the RFP if they impressed us enough to be confident?
David?
Yeah, good question. So OHL is the contractor that's building the 405 design build contract in Orange County. very large project. They also built the Magnolia grade separation for the county of Riverside. We had direct coordination efforts with them during that contract. I was the project manager on the 91 CIP during that time and had coordination with that contractor and that group. Turns out that our CM firm, Falcon Engineering, was the CM firm for the county that managed OHL's project. The project was completed with no claims. Falcon was very impressed and recommending OHL. So we feel pretty confident with OHL as a company and building this project for RCTC.
And if I could add as well, because this is a low bid, the invitation for bids is a low bid process. It doesn't address, it's not like some of the design build work we've done where the firm qualifications and proposals come into play. This is strictly a low bid situation where the contractor has to provide a reasonable bid. They have to meet all of our bid requirements. So they have done that. I think it's fair to say, I'm looking at the list of the 11 firms who placed bids on the project, and we have, I think it's fair to say we worked with all of them in one aspect or another. So all of the firms here are well qualified to do the work. But again, it's a low bid process.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'm not showing anyone else with their hand raised.
Okay, very good. All right, at this time, I'd like to open up public comment. Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
All right, very good. We'll close public comment and I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Chairman Vargas, this is Commissioner speaking. Corona, I'd like to make the motion.
Second, Eastvale.
Thank you, Clint. Call the vote, please.
District 5,
Aye.
Corona,
Aye.
Eastvale,
Aye.
Harupa Valley,
Yes.
Menifee,
Aye.
Marietta,
Yes.
Norco,
Yes.
Paris,
Yes.
Wildemar.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. It was really good questions, everybody, and thank you, David, for your presentation. Okay, now we'll get to item 9, which is our commissioner staff reports. Anybody in the commission have anything to report?
Yeah, I'd like to point out that today the county just released a press release about how we finished up our much anticipated antibody study. And it came out with some really good results that I think you should all look at. It shows the prevalence of the COVID in our county is approximately 6%, 5.9%. It shows that people have already had, and this translates using standards of error and all, to the fact that between 118,000 and 175,000 people have actually been exposed and had enough to form antibodies. So that's much greater than the 33,000 confirmed cases that are done just with PCR testing. So this will let the county go on and use these numbers. It also shows that the mortality rate is much less than what is gained by strictly dividing deaths by the confirmed numbers. So this was exciting news. It'll be in another week or two be processed even more and put out for medical journals and such for publication. So that's a proud moment in the counties. We've got that done today, and so check it out if you get a chance.
Very good. Anybody else? Staff?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, I'd like to compliment Commissioner Benoit and Speak for holding such a great smile for almost 45 minutes. And I understand Mayor Zimmerman is going to be playing a great song for us with the guitar that's behind him before we close. And aside from all that, we're going to move to item number 10, which is our adjournment. I want to thank everybody for joining us on the Zoom meeting. I think this went really well and quick. Our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, August 24th at 1:30 p.m. Most likely will probably be another Zoom meeting. Outside of that, everybody stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.